SLT Fibre and experience the power of fibre technology. Sri Lanka's only super fast internet connection. SLT Fibre. Call 1212 now.
Tonight, no threat. Defence Secretary gives assurances on Sri Lanka's security after US travel alert. We need bigger fish. UNP'S alliance plans postponed with the party in a split. Contagious resignations. Third governor resigns within a week. Lax gun laws. 2 mass shootings in a matter of hours unnerve the US. All that and much more coming up on First at 9 this Sunday, the 4th of August 2019.
මුහුණ සති කීපයකට කලින් Fair and Lovely men ගෑවට පස්සේ මාක්ස් අඩු වෙලා ෆෑනස් වැඩි වෙලා.
මාක්ස් අඩු කරලා ඔයාගේ ෆෑනස් ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එක වැඩි කරගන්න. Fair and Lovely men anti-marks cream.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Well, a very good evening to you and welcome to First at 9 on AdaDerana 24, Sri Lanka's news channel. I'm Katharina Chang. Defence Secretary retired General S.H.S. Kottegoda today gave us reassurances over the security situation in Sri Lanka with the first Kumbha procession of the historic Asala festival set to take the streets of Kandy tomorrow. Defence Secretary's assurances come at the heels of the US Embassy in Colombo moving to remind its citizens of the Level 2 travel advisory currently in place for Sri Lanka. Ministry of Defence also announced that the government has taken all necessary security measures, including special island-wide precautionary measures by the Tri-Forces Police and intelligence services, together with other state security agencies, to provide protection to places of worship, public spaces, tourist attractions, state facilities, airports, ports, hospitals, as well as other identified locations. The Defence Ministry emphasised that security forces and police will not in any way compromise on security of the public as well as any foreign national visiting the country.
Ahead of the final Randoli procession on the 14th of August, which will attract both local and foreign tourists in thousands, the security in the city of Kandy is of paramount importance. It has become a crucial topic for the Ministry of Defence, especially after the Easter attacks. As a result, Defence Secretary retired General S.H.S. Kottegoda was in Kandy today to oversee the implementation of security measures in and around the temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic as well as in other relevant areas. Senior security officials including Acting IGP C.D. Vikramaratne were also present in the city to make observations today.
The United States issued a travel advisory yesterday advising its citizens to be cautious ahead of the upcoming holidays and festive season. This affected us severely because it leads to doubt on the security situation in the country. The US Embassy, however, later acknowledged that it was a travel advisory they usually issue from time to time and it is not merely for Sri Lanka. It's important that the public of the country know this because we have taken all action to ensure security. No country in the world can give you a guarantee that such an attack wouldn't happen. Countries more developed than us faced such attacks. But I would not scare the public either. I could say that we were able to control the recent terror threat.
කිසිම හේතුවක් නැහැ. බෝම්බයක් ගියා කියලා අපි රාජ්‍ය බාර ගන්න නෙවෙයි අපි මෙතන ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ. අපි ඒක නැති කළා අපි ඉදිරියට යන්න.
Another member of the banned extremist organisation Jamaat-e-Millat Ibrahim was arrested last night by the Ampara police. The latest to be cuffed is the organisation's armed group leader of the Anuradhapura district, Muhammad Ismail Muhammad Salman. Police said the terrorists had undergone weapons training with Easter Sunday attack ringleader Zaharan Hashim in Nuwara. The suspect was residing at a relative's house at the time of the arrest. Prior to that, 2 more members of the same organisation was arrested by police. Eastern Province Armed Group leader of Jamati Milatu Ibrahim, Muhammad Naushad Umar, and a member of its propaganda team at the Oluville University, Muhammad Ismail Muhammad Salman, were arrested last night. According to police, Muhammad Salman had promoted the ideology of the banned organization at his university. President Maithripala Sirisena insists that the government will take every possible measure to improve the Dhamma education in Sri Lanka to ensure a virtuous and disciplined society. It is in this backdrop that the head of state promised to grant 10 billion rupees to the Dhamma School Fund next week.
The new story building of the Jayanti Vihara temple in Kaduruvela, a 16 million rupee project under the project Awakening of Polonnaruwa, was declared open under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena yesterday. The 124th All-Island Sunday School anniversary was also marked at the temple with the auspices of the President.
දරුවන්ගේ අධ්‍යාපන කටයුතු වලට රජයක් විදියට මුල් තැන දීමේදී
It is my view that it should be the government's principle to give prominence to Dhamma education in the education system of Sri Lanka. Prison inmates cannot be easily reformed even with Buddhist teachings. This is why there should be Buddhist education to nurture decent people. The best thing to do is nurturing children for the purpose before they grow up. I have decided to grant 10 million rupees of government money to the Dhamma School Fund next week to nurture the next generation.
රජයේ මුදල් පරිත්‍යාග කරනවා.
Meanwhile, a plaque and a chamber commemorating the late chief incumbents of the Bellanwila temple, Venerable Bellanwila Somaratana Thera and Venerable Bellanwila Vimalaratana Thera, were declared open under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena and opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa.
අපේ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට අද වැඩ කරන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ලෝකේ නායකයොත් එක්ක කතා කරනකොට
The president has to currently work with a very clever individual, but I think too clever means too cunning. As Buddhist clergy, we must be honest about our character and what we do. Buddhist clergy had to go through a troublesome time recently, and the attempt to destroy us has now worsened. They couldn't control us by putting us in jails, so now they're trying their best to defame us in any way possible. It is, however, difficult to discourage us. The leader of those who are insulting the clergy must take action to sack them from their political party because getting them to apologize from us isn't enough. It's unfortunate if he doesn't have the backbone to do so. And Mr. President, to my knowledge, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith didn't direct his backbone remark towards you.
අපේ මැල්කම් රංජිත් කාඩිනල් තුමා ඔබතුමාට නෙමෙයි අර කතා කිව්වේ මගේ දැනුම හැටියට.
Governor of the Southern Province Kirti Tennakun has resigned from his position. Tennakun tendered his resignation to the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. He was appointed as the Governor of Southern Province on the 9th of January this year. He is the third governor to have tendered his resignation within the past week. On 1st of August, Uva Province Governor Marshall Pereira resigned from his post, while Central Province Governor Maitri Gunaratne handed in his resignation yesterday. In a tragic incident, 6 persons were killed and another 62 were injured after a head-on collision between 2 buses at the Vaskadua junction in Kalutara today. The incident occurred when a bus belonging to the Sri Lanka Transport Board en route to Colombo from Alpitia collided with a private bus heading to Tangol from Mullaitivu at around 4:45 this morning. Those who sustained injuries were immediately rushed to the Nagura General Hospital in Kalutara as well as the base hospital in Panadura. 3 women and 3 men who were taken to the Nagura General Hospital, however, were pronounced dead by health officials. Among the deceased is the driver of the SLTB bus. Over 60 people are still receiving treatment at the 2 hospitals, with 1 person later being transferred to the National Hospital in Colombo owing to his critical condition. And with that, we cross over to a short commercial break, but we have more local news right after this, so make sure you stay tuned. Constitutional expert Dr. Nihal Jayavikrama is curious as to why Sri Lanka's political parties are clamouring to hold the next presidential election if the 19th Amendment reduces President Maithripala Sirisena's replacement to a largely ceremonial role. He laid his argument out while addressing an event recently which saw constitutional experts come together to deliberate the need for a new constitution. Addressing the same event, Attorney at Law D.L. Mendis highlighted that there are several drafting errors in the 19th Amendment which can create issues in its implementation.
19th Amendment contains several drafting errors which can create problems for its effective and efficient implementation. The Article 1547, President may grant leave to a member of the Public Service Commission a period not exceeding 2 months. Hence, it seems to me that if the member of the public wants to go on leave for more than 2 months, he may not require leave from the President. Likewise, election commission consists of 3 members and the quorum also should be 3 members. It's something is wrong somewhere, no? Either it's absurdity. If quorum should be less than full membership, it should be 5 members and the quorum should be 3 members. When you have positions like that, and either the draftsman is insane or something is wrong with the system. If a new amendment is done, in my humble view, that security must also get into the Constitution.
What is required is a 20th Amendment that would rectify the omissions of the 19th Amendment and change the present electoral structure by providing for the creation of single and multi-member constituencies and equitable representation for small political parties. 2 20th Amendment bills are already there, but political expediency prevents them from being presented. There is a strange transitional provision in the 19th Amendment, which enables President Maithripala Sirisena to assign to himself the Ministries of Defence, Mahabali Development and Environment, which again is a very strange combination. That transitional provision ceases to operate when President Sirisena ceases to hold the office of President. The next President will therefore not be entitled to assign to himself any ministry or any subject or any function of government. He may, if he wishes to, chair the meetings of the Cabinet. He may offer his opinion on Cabinet memoranda. He may even initiate a discussion on subject close to his heart. What he will not be able to do is to seek to implement a policy of his own in respect of a particular subject, since that would be to trespass on the territory of a duly appointed cabinet minister to whom that subject has been assigned. Now I would like to ask, why is it then that in full and complete knowledge of the purely ceremonial nature of the office of the next president, the major political parties are preparing to squander billions of rupees in an island-wide election spread over 100 days? Why does no one realize that a president elected by the people at a national election, though devoid of any power, will surely claim greater legitimacy over a Prime Minister chosen by Parliament?
The United National Party is still in a limbo over the formation of a proposed broader alliance, as it was announced today that the inking of the relevant memoranda of understanding would not happen tomorrow as planned. The decision was arrived at following a party leaders meeting last night, with members being split on the nitty-gritty of the potential alliance's constitution.
The draft constitution for the proposed new alliance did not receive approval at the United National Party Working Committee meeting held at Temple Trees recently. It is in this backdrop a decision was taken the day before yesterday by the party leadership to make several amendments to the constitution with the presence of other leaders from the National Freedom Front. Following deliberations on the constitution, a meeting was held between Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and the UNP backbenchers at Temple Trees last night.
Rather than being bound to 2 or 3 leaders of small political parties, it is better to garner support from more influential factions to form this alliance. This should not be rushed. You cannot form a broader alliance just by garnering the support of leaders from small political parties. It will be a UNP leadership. What we need is a style of leadership led by Ranil Wickremesinghe and Sajith Premadasa.
However, following a party leaders meeting held thereafter, a communique issued by the General Secretary of the United National Party, Akila Viraj Karyavasam, stated that it has been decided to postpone the signing of the proposed memoranda of understanding until a common consensus is reached with regard to the constitution. Various views on the latest development was voiced by several UNP members today.
We cannot say that a division has been created over the signing of MOU on the 5th. The issue lies with the constitution of the proposed alliance. We have decided to postpone this for a little while and conclude making necessary amendments to the constitution. We propose that we all get together and complete this in a few days. We should support the party that can win. Our party supported Mahinda Rajapaksa in 2005 and 2010. He won. In 2015, we supported Maithripala Sirisena. Likewise, in 2019, we will support the winning party.
If
the UNP has the capacity to put forth a presidential candidate of their own, they can do so without blaming anyone. There is no conflict between the party and the alliance. Some say that we should form the alliance first before selecting a candidate, while some propose the other way around. There are two views. We should be able to resolve this by next week.
Meanwhile, a campaign to collect 1 million signatures urging to select Deputy Leader of the UNP, Minister Sajith Premadasa, as the presidential candidate was launched from the town of Kiribati today.
Meanwhile, the pre-election digital propaganda campaign launched by the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna was conducted for a second day today. This is the first time a political party is carrying out an e-canvassing campaign through a digital platform with the launch of the application We Can. Parliamentarians, provincial councillors and local government representatives of the SLPP joined in the propaganda campaigns across Sri Lanka. Market analysts expect low market activity at the Colombo Bourse, while foreign participation is expected to remain weak over the course of next week. At the end of the trading week, the All-Share Price Index gained 0.37%, while the S&P SL 20 lost 0.64%. Meanwhile, the average daily turnover for the week was recorded at 1.3 billion rupees. We now have Achyutan Srirangan from First Capital Holdings with your market forecast for next week.
We expect a bit of slowness in the both debt and equity capital market. The bond market buying interest like to be remain in a mid-term maturities, especially 2023 and 2024 maturities. We expect in the stock market activity continue to remain weak as investors expect the June quarter earning to be relatively. And selective buying interest to continue selective counters where the earnings are unlikely to be affected. And foreign interest also like to be a low level, while the overall market activity also expect to be in a week with a low retail participation.
On international biz news, a billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk took to Twitter yesterday and announced that he will soon launch a China unit for his underground tunneling enterprise, The Boring Company. One of Musk's followers tweeted that the Tesla Inc.'s chief executive officer would attend the World Artificial Intelligence Conference of 2019 in Shanghai later this month. Musk replied on the social media platform that he will also be launching The Boring Company China on this trip. Musk started The Boring Company to build underground transport tunnels for Hyperloop transportation systems, which he says would be far faster than current high-speed trains and use electromagnetic propulsion. We will now cross over to a short commercial break and we will join you with international news right after that. Well, a story that is making headlines around the world. The United States was unnerved in the last 24 hours with 2 mass shootings taking place in a matter of hours. The mass shooting at a Walmart store in the Texas city of El Paso claimed the lives of 20 people while injuring another 26. The second mass shooting in Dayton in Ohio killed 9 people while injuring 16 others. The Texas shooting is believed to be the 8th deadliest in modern U.S. history.
Hands up, hands up!
US officials are currently investigating whether the mass shooting at a Walmart store in the Texas city of El Paso, which happened a few miles from the US-Mexico border, was a hate crime. A 21-year-old man identified as Patrick Crucius is in custody. Police said the suspect lived in Dallas, about 650 miles east of El Paso, where the shooting took place. US President Donald Trump described the attack as an act of cowardice. It came less than 24 hours before another mass shooting in Dayton in Ohio, and less than a week after a teenage gunman killed 3 people at a California food festival. Footage posted on social media of the mass shooting outside a bar in Ohio showed people running as dozens of gunshots echoed through the streets. Police confirmed they killed the shooter at the scene and that casualties were taken to a number of hospitals. Investigations into the shooting are underway with the help of the FBI.
North Korea has nominated Pyongyang as the host venue for their World Cup qualifying match against South Korea in October, clearing the way for the two countries to play on North Korean soil for the first time in almost 30 years. The Asian Football Confederation confirmed yesterday that the North Koreans had requested that the game scheduled for October be played at the 50,000 capacity Kim Il-sung Stadium in the northern capital. The two countries are still technically at war after the 1950-53 conflict, but there have been signs of unity through sports in recent years. Even though recent rocket tests by the North Koreans brought talks about sport and other inter-Korean exchanges to a halt, they have, however, expressed interest in jointly hosting the 2023 Women's World Football Cup. North Korea and South Korea have been drawn together in Group H of the second round of Asian qualifying for the 2022 World Cup Finals in Qatar, along with Lebanon, Turkmenistan and Sri Lanka. For the ninth weekend in a row, Hong Kong police have fired tear gas at protesters who are demonstrating in the city. Groups rallied in the Mong Kok district before starting their march and called on others to join a citywide strike plan for tomorrow. Beijing and the Chinese army have issued stern warnings about the unrest in their neighbouring autonomous territory. 2 months of demonstrations sparked by a controversial extradition bill show no signs of abating so far, with both sides hardening their stance. Although the government has now suspended the bill, which would have allowed extradition to mainland China, demonstrators want the bill fully withdrawn. Their demands have broadened to include calls for more democracy and for Hong Kong's leader Carrie Lam to resign. And that's all for tonight. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.